Welcome to the Elevating La Cultura podcast, a space where I talk with Latinas who are passionate about what they do and are willing to share that passion with others to change the narrative, especially for the next generation. Each season is centered around different topics, but all with the Latina perspective. Welcome to Season 9, where we will talk about reflecting on personal stories and letting our brilliance shine. I'm so excited to share these powerful conversations. So vámonos, and let's get into it. I'm back with another amazing conversation. Margarita Lopez is a realtor with the Oak Park's Baird and Warner office. Her commitment to providing exceptional customer service and her extensive knowledge of the real estate market has allowed her to build a successful career working with sellers and buyers throughout the Chicagoland area and beyond. She has consecutively been recognized by the Chicago Association of Realtors with their Top Producer Award, the National Association of Hispanic Real Estate Professionals Top 250 Latino Agents, and is a top 5 producer in her office. She leads with intention and purpose and prides herself in educating her community on the importance of homeownership and building long-lasting relationships well past the closing table. In her downtime, she loves to do it all. She's an avid explorer, a coffee shop fanatic, and a self-proclaimed foodie. She's a book club reader and, most importantly, a wife, mom, and a great friend. Let's get into the episode. Hi, my next guest. I am so thrilled, so excited to chat because I have gotten to know Margarita over the past few months, and her energy is just like such a light and such a positive force. And I am just so excited for you guys to meet her and hear her story. So why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself?
Hi, everyone. My name is Margarita Lopez, and I'm a realtor.
Oh my gosh. We just came off of a almost week long trip to Mexico. And I think it was like a gamble because we didn't know each other.
No.
And I think I, in particular, didn't know a few of the ladies that went on the trip, but the connection that we made while we were in Mexico has bonded us for life.
100%.
It is so interesting to see how cultura can connect us even if we don't know each other. And so I am just so thankful for you and your story and why. And after we met and spent time together in Mexico, I was like, I got to get her on the podcast. I got to share her story. So why don't you go ahead and tell us what brought you to being a realtor?
Thank you so much, Karina. So everything that you just said, yes, it was a complete gamble to go with girls on a trip, especially only have known you from from when we initially thought about going on this trip together and then meeting in person. And it's always so nerve-wracking, right? Because you don't know how everyone is going to get along, but we were such an amazing group and it was such a great trip, and meeting you and your energy, I loved it too. You're so amazing and so talented. So thank you so much for the opportunity. So let's get into it, you guys. So I've been in the real estate business for about 10 years. I always say I've been in the business longer than selling sunset, right? Because selling sunset is the cool thing right now. So definitely been in the real estate business longer than it was the cool trending thing. But I got into the business because it was a particular time where I really needed to re-identify myself. I was at a crossroads where I was a stay-at-home mom for so many years that once my kids were in school full time, it was a point where I said, all right, so what do I do next? And who am I? And what am I? And what's next on my list to do now that I have a little bit of free time while my kids are in school? And so from there, once my kids were in school, it was my husband who actually brought it up to me. And, I kept going through the different scenarios of should I go back into the business side of the 9 to 5 corporate world, or should I go into a school? That way I have that same schedule as my kids. And my husband was like, why don't you just try real estate and see how that goes for you? I think you would be really well. And at that point in time, I didn't even know what real estate was. And I had absolutely no interest in it. And it was actually from my husband who pushed me into it. And 10 years later, here I am.
I think that there is a lot of moms who reach that point where it's like, okay, I'm giving everything that I have to my baby. And
Yeah,
then once they're in school, then you're just like, oh my gosh, I have so much free time. Now
yeah,
what? And it's that rediscovering of yourself that is a pivotal moment. And it's like, oh man, I'm not the person completely that I was before,
yeah,
but I still have dreams. I'm still a person other than being a mom. So
yeah.
now what? And I think that like a lot of people also don't know what real estate entails. Like you hear it,
Mhm.
you see all the shows on TV, and
They're not true, you guys.
I know I was so sad when I found out like the reality of all these HGTV videos or episodes where it's like, oh, you can do a whole house remodel in 1 hour.
Of course you can.
Yeah. So I'd be interested in knowing a little bit more on when someone says, oh, I'm in real estate. What does that exactly mean?
So there's so many branches into real estate. There's so many different ways that you can get into the real estate business, and it really just depends on which way you want to go. I, for myself, decided to go into the residential portion of real estate, and for me, that means that I help out buyers and sellers. I specifically help people purchase properties, whether that's a condo, a multi-unit, single family home, investment properties, or I help people sell the homes that they currently have. I educate them on investing. So for me, it's more the residential portion of things, but you have property management, you have the commercial real estate, residential leasing, and there's so much more than that as well. But my primary focus is residential.
Okay. I think sometimes when you think, or when I think of like real estate, I only think about it like if I want to buy a house or if I want to sell a house. And sometimes I guess like I didn't know that you can have a realtor help you even looking for something other than a house. Because I think
Mhm.
there's you like we see the signs on lawns and like selling this house under a certain realty
Mhm.
company,
Mhm.
but we don't see those signs when it comes to like an apartment or a condo. And so there's this misconception that like realty is just selling homes and buying homes. And so it's, I think as we are getting more into being knowledgeable about the real estate economy as a
Mhm.
whole, like we're realizing like, oh, there's a lot more opportunity than just like this tiny portion of what we thought it was. And
Mhm.
so I think there's a lot more opportunity for people to get involved. So, how did you start out? How did you get into real estate to begin with?
So it was actually my own realtor who we purchased our home, who I connected with. I reconnected with him. He owned his own real estate company, and I went to him and we talked about me getting into real estate. He guided me. I went to school for it, got licensed for it, and from there I did training with him, and I pretty much jumped in. those first 3 years there at his office, I kind of just went for it and took on every opportunity that presented itself to me until I learned it, right? I'm very hands on. I like to learn hands on. And it's one of those businesses where you learn from others, you get as much information from your manager, and you you dive right in hopes that you're being guided and educating your own self, learning as much as you possibly can so that ultimately you're guiding your client. But yes, it requires a lot of networking. It requires a lot of confidence in yourself. It requires a lot of work, not just opening up doors for people, right? There's a lot that goes on behind the scenes for us to educate ourselves so that we know how to guide our clients correctly from making that right investment. And whether it's their first home or their third home, it's making sure that we know everything that we need to know, not just about the house, but about the market, the area that they're buying in, so that we're guiding them. So in the forefront, yes, it is opening up doors for people, but in the back end, there's so much work that goes behind to make sure that when my client asks me questions, that I'm giving them all that information so that they have peace of mind on their decisions.
I think that, like you said, it's a lot of knowing and being able to talk to people and networking. So, would you say that that's like the fun part of it? Like, do you get to go to a lot of events? Are you invited? Do you have to like find the events, or now that you're established, people are just like, come to my event, come here, come there?
It's different for everyone. And I really do believe that it's in your personality as well. When you get into this business, you actually have to find what works for you, right? Some people are more transactional, some people are more relational. And there's so many ways to invest into your own personal business. But you have to remain genuine to yourself or what you're comfortable with. So you know how you want to be perceived in your business. So for me, I am sociable, right? So for me, I knew that networking and putting my name out there was going to be one of the best form fitting ways for me, because that's more my personality. I love being around people. So for me, going to networking events, not necessarily just involving real estate, but just in general, and do with my interest, I knew that that was a nice way for me to just network and get to know people. It is great to be able to network within the real estate world, because it is important to get to know your colleagues from different companies. But networking had a lot to do with it. And then once you get in there and you start finding the people that you like, from there you just enjoy the time that you're there. And but I always say it's what works for you. You look for things of your interest. You look for things that are going to work for you, that are going to ultimately make you feel comfortable. So the real estate business is so broad that there's just so many different ways of getting business, and it really just depends on you and your personality, and what works for you and what you're comfortable with.
I think that's encouraging because a lot of people might feel, I don't know, like scared or intimidated, thinking that if they're introverts or
Yes.
a
Mm-hmm.
little more shy or
Yes.
chill, like that they wouldn't necessarily succeed.
Mm-hmm.
But I love that you say, like, you can do it, just stay true to who you
To yourself.
are, because
Mhm.
you'll attract the people that
Yes.
want to work with you because who you are.
Mm-hmm.
So uh, I
Yeah,
love that.
that's 100%. I really do believe that in this business, it's finding your own strengths. It's what you're comfortable with, because you want to show off to be confident, right? And so what may work for me may not necessarily work for someone else, or what someone else is doing may not be what I'm comfortable with as well. So all of us kind of have to find our way in the world, in the world of real estate, or anything in general, right? So
Mhm.
that we feel comfortable and are happy with what we're actually doing.
Yeah, for sure. So
Mhm.
what did you feel? and like walk me through all the emotions when you sold your first house.
You know what? It sounds horribly cheesy, but I get so excited and emotional. It doesn't matter if it's the first one. I mean, I've been in this business for 10 years, and I'll tell you that it's been a full world of a roller coaster. But and I tell people, I promise you that I don't exaggerate. I said, being at that closing table, whether it's that the first one, I was a nervous wreck. I was like, what do I need to do? Are you sure the client knows everything? Is the client confident with everything? Does the client need to do anything else? I mean, I was so stressed out. Are you sure everything's going good? Did the lender do this? The home inspector do that? There's just so much, right? But my excitement for that particular client, for every client, I always tell people, can you, at that closing table, I tell them just take a moment to kind of reflect on where you're at. I'm like, because it is such an amazing achievement. I'm like, and it's ultimately your hard work that got you here. And so that first closing, I get the chills. That first closing was so nerve-wracking because I just wanted everything to go right. I believe it or not, 10 years later, I still talk to her as well. She's out in the south side of Chicago. And I remember that she didn't drive. So I was like, okay, vende mi carro. And we drove to the closing, and I was like, just stay calm and professional. But inside, I was so excited and so nervous, not necessarily for my own first transaction, right? But I think just it makes me want to just those amazing possibilities of that particular buyer. It was just so nice to see, and it was for her daughter, and it was nice. Oh, and I become an emotional mess.
And I love it because, you know, I think that's why I connected with you like right off the bat, because you like just your character shows how much you care, and it's not like a fake thing. Like you genuinely are so excited, so emotional, so moved with everything. And I and I saw that firsthand, not just with your work, but just with like how you approach life. And I think that is like electrifying for people who are in your circle. And I think that's why I definitely wanted to get you on the podcast, because I like to share the stories of people who are living authentically and actually care about the people that they're working with, not just the transaction. Um, so I one of the things that we have chatted about in the past is how you have such a heart for people who are purchasing their first home, especially as a Latina. You understand the hard work that goes into wanting to own your home and the emotion that goes through that. I'd love for you to just share a little bit about that, um, like that piece, especially for people who have immigrated here, people who are first gen. Like just talk about the the emotional piece that you've gotten to witness and help people like get to that next level and how big that is.
It's amazing, and it's such an amazing experience, and it's so nice to be able to be a part of someone's process, right? Someone's journey into one of our biggest purchases, and it really is. I really do consider myself very lucky to be able to do what I do and truly enjoy it. Um, and for me, especially in our community, I think the importance of just educating ourselves and growing and mentoring and connecting and helping one another is so important. And that goes for any age range. Um, whether it's your, younger crowd who fully speaks English, is educated, or your older generation who, may not have the advantages that we have, right? For me, when I have those opportunities to be able to meet anyone and they're sitting at my office, I'm grateful for it. I take the time more to listen to their story, as to why they're here, that little why that little idea popped into their mind about home ownership. And then game time, explain and educate to them the importance of home ownership, and bring in partners who will educate them on the importance of their credit savings so that they get on the right path. Not all of our stories are great stories, right? And so not every client who walks through our doors do I get them to that closing table, but I make sure that I educate them and that I get them to where they need to be in their own right time. And so for me, whether someone's looking to buy now or a year from now, having them walk through my doors and having someone like myself or one of my trusted business partners, such as a mortgage lender, credit repair, anyone, um, having that information to them, giving that information to them and explaining to them, this is what you need to do to get yourself to this point, and educating them, and then bringing the fruits of their labor into reality is like in my main priority. Because again, a lot of us may not have been educated on the importance of home ownership, right? A lot of us, it's just easier to go and rent, or we think that home ownership is completely out of our hands, but because the resources aren't there to really educate us and guide us, or who do we talk to? Do we talk to an attorney? Is the realtor that I'm going to talk to charge me by the hour? When I talk to her on the phone, does this cost me money? How much does this cost me? There's so much that our consumers don't know, and of course we start Googling and it's overload information. So for me, it's giving that peace of mind and providing them with how it is that we work, what I'm there for, why it is that I help them and connect them to whoever they need during the real estate process, and then educating them so that they themselves feel completely confident, and so that whether they're buying or selling now, 5 years from now, or it's unfortunately if it doesn't happen for them, that they at least walked away feeling that someone helped them out and gave them the right information.
That's amazing. I mean, just hearing you talk, like I'm already inspired and energized and feel like I could do anything. Um, but like you said, there's a lot of inequities, and I feel like our generation is doing a lot to
Mm.
educate and shift those numbers so that there is more confidence education around these big things that are kind of hard to understand. And I am curious if you have encountered any like microaggressions or biases as you have been trying to bridge that gap between generations, especially as a Latina, especially as a woman. I'm curious to know how you've navigated those.
Oh, most definitely. Being in this business sometimes can become a little intimidating, right? Going into certain neighborhoods and seeing sometimes neighbors come out, right? Or even having neighbors mention certain things to you of why are you selling and who's coming into my neighborhood. And remaining professional at all times is key for me. But depending on the scenario that I've been in, I'm very quick to talk to my clients about, like, listen, for example, I had one where I showed a property to a client, and the neighbor came out and said, "Can I help you?" And I said, "Can I help you?" I said, "I'm here showing the property." And she said, "Well, I actually called the police." She said, I didn't know who was going into the property. And I said, okay, well, I'm a real estate agent. I said, I'm more than happy to show you my business card. And my client freaked out. And I said, do not freak out. I said, we have a full right to be here. I said, the police can come. I will show them my information if I need to. I said, do not let her overpower this situation like this. So I turned around and I said, let's go inside the property and take a look at it, right? So I have to remain professional at all times, but I also have to make sure that I stand up for myself always. And I have to make sure that I provide my client with that sense of security always, no matter what situation. As far as the business world of things, absolutely not. I will not let anyone ever intimidate me. I walk into a room letting them know that my kindness is a privilege to people.
Yes.
And it doesn't matter who you are, what level of status you are. I come in here with a clean slate into every single room. Now, your judgment on me will depend on you, never a reflection of me. And so I make sure that I carry myself in the kindest way possible, respectfully, always making sure that I'm comfortable, that my client is comfortable, and that no one or anything will ever intimidate me in that way. So, Karina,
Mm.
that's gonna make me cry. But it's true. It's everywhere around us, right? Whether we like it or not sometimes. But I will not give nothing the power like that. No, I can't. So,
Yeah, I think that is so powerful and great insight on how we can like shift in our own minds, because so many times we have been made to feel less than or little, especially like I think back to my childhood, and there's a lot of things that we are shifting now in our own lives and healing in order for us to be able to show up confidently
oh,
in
100%.
spaces, and especially like to be an example for the next generation. So is there something in particular that you are working on or have worked on to heal yourself in order to pour into the next generation? And the next generation can just be like your kids, because I know that they
Mhm.
are watching it with pride on how you present yourself in situations, and they're taking that example and applying that into their own lives as well.
Oh, most definitely. Little me, teen me, 20s me, completely different people, right? And eh, as we grow and our life experiences and as we build our own confidence in our own selves, you reach this level, right? Where I am going to walk into a room and my kindness is my privilege, is your privilege, but it takes a very long time to get here. And it takes the different chapters that we come across for us to keep building our character stronger and stronger as we get wiser, not older, as we get wiser. But I have my two kids, and so from I had them at an early age, so I knew how I wanted to always make them feel, and I made sure that I portrayed myself that way too.
It can be hard, like to pour so much energy into working on yourself because you know that your kids are watching. And something that I have been learning in my own life is how to stand in that confidence while I'm being watched, but also know how to like sit in those feelings and sit in those emotions rather than just ignoring it and pushing it off to the side. Have
Oh,
you
completely. Oh,
experienced that too?
100%, 100%. That's called my me time. That's where my inner thoughts every day, early in the morning as I'm journaling or late at night as I'm reflecting, your mind goes into overdrive to everything, right? Um, my way to reflect and grow and cringe at certain things that I've done or things that I'm like, "Oh, I really need to get better at this," or just overall think, right? It's my cafe time. It's my cafecito time early in the morning or late at night, that tea. Um, I always say I chase the peace early in the morning. And so for me, getting up at that 5:30 in the morning, because I feel that that's the most silent, peaceful moment of my day. That's my moment of reflection. That's my moment where I do so much of my thinking because my house is quiet. By that time, my husband has already left to work. My kids, well, my son usually by that time, he's still sleeping. And so the sacrifice of getting up just a little bit earlier to let my mind think or not think or just kind of go through things, I feel that's my moments of growth. That's where I really reflect on what your mind doesn't let you think throughout the day. I take that particular time to just really just face my own self and face my faults, my defaults, moments that I know that I need to, things that I need to improve on, and just overthink on everything. And then, all right, write everything down, be grateful, because that gratitude is what brings me right back to reality of yes, there's a million things that you can do to improve, but guess what? You're here and you're healthy. And let's start with that first, right? It's so easy to go into the negative part of so many things, but if there's one thing I do pride myself is shifting into positivity right away, because the negative is there. The negative is around us 1,000,000% everywhere, all day, every day, no matter what it is that we do, stay at home mom's business, anything. The negative is there, but it's taking the positive and reminding ourselves. So I've gone way too much. But it's that cafecito time. It's that silent, peaceful early morning time that makes me reflect, makes me grow, and makes me really think about just how my day went yesterday, how my day is going to go today, and really kind of it's what helps me.
And I love that you put that on Instagram. Like you kind of start out the day with like a reflection story post. And it's so simple, but it like whenever I see it, I'm just like, okay, like I take a moment to breathe in and breathe out. And so keep doing that. I think it's an inspiration for people and a reminder that, yeah, we as moms, as women, are always trying to like present ourselves as confident, but we also need to take that time to reflect and kind of decompress on how the day went and how we want to continue to grow. So I love that advice. Okay, so if people are kind of interested in home ownership or thinking about selling, like what are the first steps that you would recommend to someone thinking about taking the leap?
So for anyone who starts thinking about the idea of, I wonder if, what if, hmm, what if I talk to someone, or what if I start researching online about wanting to maybe purchase a condo or anything, right? The first thing I say is get in contact with your trusted realtor, me. Get in contact with me, because I will be the one to ask you questions about your ideas, and from there be able to connect, from there educate you, and then see what it is you're looking for, and then connect you to the connecting dots to get you pre-approved. As anyone who's looking to buy, our foundation begins with our pre-approval. That's what ultimately lets us know whether or not we are ready to purchase now or have a couple things to work on. For a seller, if they're thinking about selling their home, they're wondering what the value of their home is, where they should move to next, how that even works. It all begins with that phone call and consultation about their home and what the value of their home is, so that I can really first give them all the information about their current home now and what it would look like to sell, at what price, how much would be left in their pocket, to then see what their next move would be and what that now looks like, because when they bought before might be completely different from what they're buying now. So before anyone ever makes a decision on whether or not they're going to buy or sell, I educate them first.
Okay, so if don't feel intimidated, just contact your favorite realtor, Margarita, and she will walk you through all the steps.
That's right. I think everyone thinks the moment that they make a phone call, they're going to be like, all right, let's go ahead and get ready. Let me go ahead and show you some properties tomorrow so you can put in an offer by Sunday and I can get you into your home by May 31st. I think, unfortunately, society has painted a picture of what a realtor looks like, acts like, and pushes you to do, right? Of course, there's a little bit of everything out there, but I say find the right individual who you're going to connect with. If there's any advice that I can give, is your team should make you feel so comfortable and confident with the entire process, and without ever any hesitation of you having to ask the same question 20 times in a different way. That's what your team is there for. And so you need to walk away from that closing table feeling completely comfortable, mortified that you just got into your biggest debt, but insanely excited at the end of the day, right? And so make sure that whether it's me or anyone else, that you feel completely comfortable with who is helping you throughout this process.
Yeah, so going back to the beginning, don't believe what you see on reality TV.
No, all of it is fake, you guys. The high heels, the dresses, the schmillion commission.
Oh my gosh, that's hilarious. Okay, so what is bringing you joy right now?
Ah, so many things bring me joy. Um, Life, health, and surrounding myself with good, positive people. Ultimately, health above anything else, but the right people around you is ultimately key to making your day a great day.
And I think, especially after coming out of a pandemic where our social circles were limited, like I resonate with that so much. Like, community has been so big and so influential in my life over the past year, 2 years. And so I think, like, I love that you say, like, life, health, and community has been
Mhm.
huge.
100%.
Okay. So, what encouragement or advice would you give to the next generation if they're looking into maybe real estate or just like life in general? What would you say to them?
Society has such a way of pushing us into what they believe is the right way to do things, right? And so I would say, first, focus on what makes you happy. If it's real estate and anything, Focus on what makes you happy and see how you can make a living out of it. That's the main thing, right? We want to really do, we really want to enjoy what we do. Realistically, I know that that's not always possible, right? But surround yourselves with the right individuals that'll encourage you to always be better. I, I think for me, that's been one of my ultimate main things. I push myself to grow more and more because I see all the other amazing individuals around me push themselves every day. And so, if there's any advice that I can give, is get yourself into the right circle of people that'll just keep encouraging you to push forward. No matter if it's in real estate, if it's in a job, just in life in general, it's making sure that you surround yourself that with people that are motivating themselves to just keep going higher and higher. Doesn't mean pushing themselves to go higher and higher, but helping you grow and motivating you along the way as well.
Yes, that positive energy. And I think you are one of those people that do that for me. So, yes. Oh my gosh. I think everyone, all of my listeners need to connect with you, even if they already have a house. Like, everyone knows someone. So, where can people connect with you and see your heart, your positive energy? Where can they like get in touch with you?
One of the best ways is going to be through Instagram. That's where I pour a little bit of life, a little bit of my life into it every single day. Instagram is just such a great platform to just get to know people, get to know a little bit of their lives, and you get to know so much of me. What you see is what you get, you guys. So Instagram is probably one of the best ways, but if not, always through phone. I love conversating. Never second guess yourself in reaching out to me, whether it's a simple question or just wanting to pick my brain. My cell phone is like an open book, but Instagram or my phone is the two top places where you can always reach out.
Oh, that's so nice. I think like our phone numbers have become like so like don't give out your phone number. And so whenever someone trusts me and is just like just text me, just give me a call. I'm like, okay, we're close. We're besties now.
Yes.
So I love that. Oh my gosh, this conversation has been amazing. I'm so thankful for your time, for you sharing your story, and just for your positivity in the world. You're such a light. And like I said, like your energy always like inspires me, even when I'm like feeling a little low and I like tired. Like we were on a trip and we were all tired, but I feel like you kept the energy up, the positivity up, and I'm just so grateful for you and your life.
Thank you so much, Karina. To you as well. I've been following you on Instagram as well, and when I finally got to meet you at our meetup, I was just so curious and so excited and a little starstruck.
No.
Because it's so funny how sometimes you follow people on social media and then you get to meet them in real life. And that was one of those moments with you where I don't know if you remember, but we were sitting down and I was like, so tell me about you. Tell me
Yes.
who you are. Tell me what you are. Who are you? I just want to know everything about you. And I thought, I said, oh my gosh, this girl must think I'm crazy. I said, but I really genuinely, you feel the energy of people even through social media sometimes, and I felt that energy the same with you, and I was very excited to go with you and the rest of the girls on that trip, and definitely a newfound friendship from that trip. That trip put us a little bit of everything, and it was so exciting to be there, and it was such a great moment, and I look forward to many more. But I definitely look forward to continuing our friendship, our relationship, networking away wherever it is that we find ourselves or that you find other people that we have in common. And I thank you for the opportunity.
Yeah. So if this is a sign for any of my listeners to go on a girls' trip, do
Yeah.
it. because it is amazing.
Most definitely, yes.
Okay, well, I am sure that I will see you sometime soon. But for now, I'm just so grateful for you and your time. And so we will talk later.
Thank
Bye.
you, Karina.
Bye. Isn't her joy infectious even through the mic? Definitely connect with her on social media and share her name if you know of anyone looking to buy or sell. There'll be a new episode every Tuesday, so after you listen, feel free to take a screenshot, post on Instagram, and tag at Elevating La Cultura, or send me a DM. You can also comment on our YouTube video if you're watching online. I always like to hear from people and how they resonate with the stories that I share. So leave a review on Apple Podcasts so we can get more ears listening to these stories and we can continue elevating La Cultura. And if you haven't already, check out the Elevating La Cultura Comunidad on Facebook. We also host monthly Comadre networking events, so if you're in Chicago, join us for one of those. All upcoming events can be found on the website elevatinglacultura.com. All right, enjoy the rest of your day, afternoon, evening, whenever you're listening, y nos vemos next week. Bye.